All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order, and we'll start with a prayer, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day you've given us, and Lord, the many blessings of life. Lord, most of all, the blessing that we can have salvation through your Son, Jesus. Lord, we do thank you, too, that we live in a country where we're free to vote and choose our leaders, and Lord, we just pray that everyone will get out and exercise that right during the remainder of this election day. Lord, we ask you to be with us and guide us through this meeting, that the things we do are right and pleasing in your sight. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a guest with us today. Not you, Jim. You become a regular. But Kim Roberts, the director of the Franklin Simpson Renaissance, is here, and we want to ask Kim to share some information with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm here with some really good news. About a year ago, I stood here and was contemplating and discussing what we were planning to do to the courthouse for Christmas this year. So I'm here today to say we make it happen. The courthouse is going to shine as bright as it has, probably bright as it ever has, at first time in over 15 years, this Christmas and other holiday seasons. And I do want to thank Fiscal Court for allowing Renaissance to do this project. It took about 4 years, 2 years of me contemplating whether or not to do it. My dad pushing me left and right, you need to do it, you need to do it. Then it took about another 2 years to find a product, to find a company, to find everything that we needed, because when you're putting a permanent lighting system on a historic building built in the 1800s, you want to make sure it's going to look good, it's going to be easily maintained. And I think we, after 2 years, we found the product that we thought would make the best sense. And working with Thurman Electric, we just decided this was the way to go. So the lights are on the courthouse. We've tested, we'll be testing again multiple times, and we will light the courthouse up on December 7th after the parade during Small Town Christmas. And just wanted to let a lot of people know kind of where the project was, what Renaissance involvement is, and Fiscal Court and Thurman Electric. Renaissance purchased the lights, we paid for the lights, and Thurman Electric donated their time to install the lights at no cost to the community. So this is a Renaissance and Thurman Electric gift to the community with no cost to the community. Renaissance is going to continue to maintain the lights. Renaissance is going to determine the holidays and the events that we're going to light the courthouse up for, because we're not going to light it up for just everything. We want it to be special whenever we do, and have meaning to it whenever we do. We don't want people to get used to seeing them all the time. But the holidays that we have designated right now, and we've adopted these guidelines into our bylaws. Right now we have the Christmas season. It'll start the first Saturday of December and probably go on to around, after New Year's for sure. We have Valentine's Day, Easter, Independence Day, Summer Vibes Music Fest, Homecoming. Of course, there's no way we can be in Franklin and have this ability and not light the courthouse up blue and white for Homecoming. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we're going to light it up the first day, October 1st of each year, and let it run for 24 hours. Boo Fest, Halloween, and Veterans Day. And these may change a little bit here and there, but that's what we have adopted so far. But the only access to the lights will be the Renaissance director, the Renaissance president of the board, and Thurman Electric. Some of his guys have capabilities of doing it for troubleshooting and in case something happens and I can't be reached or whatever. And so those are the people that are designated and the only people that will be allowed to have control of the lights. And let's see, what else? Something else I wanted to say. And of course, the official lighting will be December 7th during Christmas, about 6:30. So if you want to be here, it would be great. We want to have Small Town Christmas is going to be bigger and better than it ever has been. We have trains, we have Santa Claus, we have Frosty and Rudolph and the Grinch. We're going to have story time in the courthouse. I talked to Mason about it yesterday to get approval. So we're going to bring the kids into the bottom level for story time with the Grinch this year. We have carriage rides after we light the courthouse up, and all these activities will be free to the public. It's just our gift each year. Small Town Christmas is just a gift from Renaissance each year. But that's the biggest gist of the product. I just wanted to make sure, everybody knew, everybody's stance and where it was. But Myron has some interesting things to show everybody regarding the lights.
When we started this project, I found this bulb up in the attic.
Everybody needs to hear you, Myron. That's all right.
I found this bulb up in the attic when we started the first project in 1996. Now this bulb, I'm guessing it was probably back in the 50s and the 60s, as far as I can go back.
So it's a collector's item.
Could be,
Okay.
yeah. And then in 96, we played a part in relighting the courthouse, and we used these little small incandescent bulbs, which I couldn't read the wattage on this. John, did you say that was 5 watt? So then in 2014, we rebulbed the courthouse with these little LED bulbs. And I do not know the wattage of these. They're probably 1 watt, somewhere thereabout. And then here today we are with this configuration. These are LED diodes, and this track is along the soffit of the courthouse, and then of course it comes down on the brick as well. So I just kind of gives you a little bit of history where we started maybe back in the 50s and the 60s and where we're at today.
They look like they might have used that one for Rudolph's nose.
It probably was. It probably was. But I tell you what, yesterday I did find some, there were 2 bales, Christmas bales. They're about this big around, and they're really, really old. And they're up on the 3rd floor, so they may be something that I'm thinking about maybe taking this and taking down to the History Center for the people that cares about the lighting and to kind of see where we've evolved, over the years.
Well, evidently it's a lot of people that care about the lighting, because that's one of the biggest complaints that I have heard.
Really?
Is why do y'all not light the courthouse up again?
And with this time change, about 2:30 in the afternoon, you'll be able to start seeing.
Yeah, but so
About
I want to
4:30
say,
anyway.
Kim, thank you and the group with Renaissance for stepping up and doing it. Myron, thank you for donating the
We're just
labor
glad
to
we
get
could
it
do
done. And
It's exciting.
hopefully everybody will be happy.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know why they shouldn't be.
Yeah, the only thing I've gotten more complaints on are dogs and trash, and lights are third.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you light up the courthouse?
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen. Nothing happens between now and then. So I just wanted the court and the public to know, the lighting system, it's there. It looks really nice. It blends in the colors we chose for the brick. That's on the siding that goes around the top, that color right there, and then we went with a brown color to blend in with the natural scenery
Yeah, it looks
of the
fine.
courthouse. So really, it looks really, really nice.
There's one thing I failed to mention, that these lights will only be controlled from an iPhone. It's the only way to turn them on. That's the only downfall. If we lose Wi-Fi service, we'll have no light.
Yeah, they're
Blame it on you, Adam.
They're totally operational, so yeah, Adam, make sure our Wi-Fi stays up through Christmas anyway. But yeah, that's the only way to turn them on and off is from like my phone. There's an app on my
So a
phone.
phone app is the only.
Yes, that's the
on-off
only way to turn them. Now, to turn them off, if my phone won't turn them off, then it means I'm gonna have to chug it upstairs and start unplugging. I can get them off, not quickly, because I'm not a fast runner up the stairs, but I can get them off. But yeah, my phone, Sam Crocker, as of right now, will have access to it from an electric, but that's the only way to turn them on and off is an app on my phone. And believe me, I don't go into that app right now until I know for sure, because I'll get them on and can't get them off. So, hey, I'm a little skittish of that. But anyway, thank you for letting me come, and thank you again for allowing us to do this project.
Thank you for the lights, but thank you moreover for just taking care of the grounds down here. It looks good.
You're welcome.
You'll do a good job.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, glad we could do it.
You was talking about the bulb 50 years ago. Could you imagine if you'd have told somebody 50 years ago, you'll have to have your phone to turn the light on and off?
Well, I said you crazy.
Pick up the rotary phone and dial it.
Or it's like a little dot the size of a quarter puts out more light than that bulb and can be changed to practically any color you
Yeah,
can
now,
imagine.
we've got about, 1,500 of these diodes on. So if you call Kim and you say, Kim, I need you to turn on bulb number 976, she can turn that one bulb on, just that one bulb on.
That's insane.
And turn on any color you want.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Moving on to business, I think the first order of business needs to be, I have made a recommendation that we would appoint Sydney Downey as fiscal court clerk, so we need a motion and a second to have Sydney appointed as fiscal court clerk.
So much.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Scott. There's no question or discussion. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Sydney.
Congratulations.
The
Congratulations,
pressure's
Sydney.
on.
Wait a minute, did she want to do it? Wait, did he ask that?
Or condolences, whichever's more
She was
appropriate.
fairly agreeable. Me and the ladies in the office, we all had long conversations. I only had to slightly twist her arm. I didn't have to twist it. I mean, you didn't wear a sling or anything the next day, did you?
No.
Took it off yesterday, didn't you?
No. So all kidding aside, Sydney, we're glad to have you, and I know you'll do a great job. You've excelled at everything you've done since you've been here. So moving on now, the approval of our minutes from our October 15th regular fiscal court meeting. We need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is the updated estoppel agreement with the AA Kentucky. If y'all recall, we've done this agreement at our meeting 3 weeks ago, but after the meeting, if you look at on the portal, and I highlighted it in yellow, they wanted to add the words "together with its affiliates, successors, and assigns." And so I reached out to Sam, and Sam said if there's some language change, we just need to approve it updated.
It's cleaner.
Yeah. So it doesn't really change. It still says we will not enact the TIF. It just wants to clarify who all it applies to.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is an engineering agreement for the county clerk PBA building, which I guess is one, it's professional service, and two, it is under the bid threshold, so we wouldn't have to bid it. But this is something that we will have to pay for outside of the contract, because there's going to have to be soil and materials tested, dirt, footers, concrete, steel, and they have to be tested by a licensed professional engineer, and the construction company cannot call the engineer. We have to approve the engineer and give the engineer authority to do the testing.
Been nice to have done this before we bid the job, wouldn't it?
I didn't know it until it got
Yeah.
started, but
Is this money coming out of ARPA or
It-
what
it-
used
it
to be
would come
ARPA?
out- it would come out-
We're not coming out of nothing? Okay.
yeah. But it's a requirement. We've got to do it.
Yeah.
As you see, ACES gave us a quote. We have bid a number of things where ACES has engineered, and they've always had the lowest and best bid. And they're quick and local. Anyone else with the capability of doing this would have to drive over an hour to be here. And so that is the estimated cost. What we need is a motion and a second to approve this engineering agreement and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved, Mason.
Got a motion by Myron.
Second.
Is that you, Marty? Or Jeffrey, sorry. A second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is approve a first reading of ordinance number 530.62 for a reduction in speed limit on Cedar Bluff Road to 45 miles an hour. Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion on the speed limit change? Sydney, on the ordinance, we'll do a roll call.
Scott. Poston.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Chandler.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes. All right, the next item is our second update to the surplus auction list. And this is one item added from the jail, 3 items added from the sheriff's office. And we need to approve these items, but the sheriff's items need to be approved pending the auction company's ability to sell them equipped, because these cars will still be equipped. So we want to add them to the list, but then in addition to that, authorize the sheriff to pursue another avenue if the auction company can't sell them as equipped vehicles. Now, we'll know for sure Thursday, because they plan to come over Thursday and start taking pictures of all the stuff to get everything ready and get a date scheduled. But we need a motion and a second to approve the updated list, and then further authorize the sheriff to sell the 3 vehicles in an alternative manner if the auction company cannot sell them equipped.
And I'd like to add, in addition to the 3 vehicles, we have multiple, what we call cages. Cages are the divider in the car that keeps the prisoner from reaching up and hurting you. Those are made for specific vehicles. You can't take an old cage and put in a new vehicle. And there's probably 20 or more, maybe over there from over the entire history, that are taking up needless space. There's probably some old blue lights in there. We'd like to go through that and surplus that. Honestly, most of it's stuff you could throw away or just take to a metal place, but it's not worth anything. So I'd like to include any of that to sell, whether this company can do it or whether I just need to take it somewhere. I just want to prove it.
Can they sell the blue lights? They can't really sell blue lights, can they? 'Cause
A
Well,
lot
again,
of people do like with the sheriff's vehicle.
you can sell blue lights to another police agency. The problem with the lights I'm talking about, not the ones that are on the car, they're still
Yes.
good. These have probably sat there forever and they wouldn't fit anything. They would fit a Crown Vic if you still had one going, maybe.
Is there, Sheriff, let me ask you this, is there a place where law enforcement equipment gets sold? I mean, is there a place that
You could probably find something. None of this is going to be suitable to be sold, quite frankly. You're not going to get anything out of it. The cages are probably better to take to a scrap yard and let them weigh for the metal in them and just cut a check to the county. I don't mind putting there, if you authorize me to sell them, I'm going to check different avenues, and if I can find a way to get some revenue for it, I'm fine. It comes back to you guys. I'm not.
Well, let's do this. Let's vote to add these items to the surplus list, and then we'll do this on a separate vote.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah, because I'd like to add Sam, because we can either bid it, auction it, or give it to another governmental agency. But I understand completely what the sheriff's saying about those cages really are for scrap. So what do we do in that situation if it's just, do you determine just scrap metal and sell it for scrap, or, you know, I don't know.
Maybe we'll revisit that question when the counselor comes back in. All right. So right now, I just need a motion to add the 4 items to the updated surplus list.
I got one question, Mason, not related to this. It probably was sometime in October. I was talking to our jailer, and I thought there was some type of agreement that was going to be worked out between the park and the jail concerning the 2017 Kubota.
I mean, I don't know. The jailer asked me about it, and we had given the auction company the list before he asked me about that. So, I mean, they've got it on the list.
But have they determined a date? I mean,
No.
we can add to the list, but is it problematic to take away from the list if something can be worked out?
I don't know, and I guess the question that the jailer and I had was, if it sells and the park actually needs something, this money's going back to the jail commissary, so if the park needed something and it's something the commissary can put over there, they could actually buy them a new one maybe.
Well, I was thinking maybe in doing that, you're kind of limited. The inmates will have access to that particular piece of equipment. If the park buys it or owns it,
No,
then-
I was talking about the money's going back to the commissary.
Oh.
The commissary could make the purchase for whatever the park needed. But I don't know that we can't take away from the list is that what do we need to do, jailer?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options here. I'm telling the whole court, I don't care. Whatever y'all feel is best, if we can help the park out, we will help the park out as we always have. If we can help the fiscal court out, you know I'm game to help y'all out. We don't use it. We don't use it, that's why we transferred the one to the fire department, because they have a use for it. I have actually been on a call when they needed those with them, so that one's justified. The park, if we give it to the park, if we pulled it off and we gave it to the park, you are correct, Myron, the inmates have to be able to utilize that vehicle. I do understand it's a really nice vehicle. I don't know that you want the inmates using it all the time. We could,
Because that's the whole point. If it was purchased through commissary, so the use of it has to be tied back
Yes.
to the inmate.
Would it be better for the Gator to be out there than the Kubota?
well, me and Leslie were talking about that, and I don't know. I don't
Not
wanna
too
say-
good? Okay,
It doesn't know.
okay. I didn't know,
It never has from day one.
Okay.
It's never been.
We looked at that option too.
Yeah.
It's whatever y'all would like to do. Like I said, I'm game. I'll do
But
whatever.
the point being, there's no reason to give the park a vehicle that has to be parked unless there's an inmate out there. What's the benefit of them having it?
There's none of
If it
it.
has to just be parked?
No.
If they actually, and Scott, you're on the parks board, aren't you? If they actually need a vehicle, why would we not just do this surplus auction? We could help put some proceeds into getting something, maybe not even through the commissary, because I understand that limits it anyway.
Yeah, I'm limited on what I can spend. Now, I could go buy, and we keep saying Gators or Kubotas, a UTV. I could go buy a UTV for the park. Don't have a problem with that. Matter of fact, I'm pulling one from the school, that's been there. I think it's a 2014, isn't that what it was, Mason?
I think it was.
And it's not in bad shape. It's just got a lot of wear and tear. They use it. So we're gonna put it in the auction, and I'm gonna get them a new one, because the inmates, they pick up trash or, clean the stadiums and all that stuff. So I'm gonna get them one, and if the park needs one, I don't mind getting it. It's just their preference, I guess. It's whatever we
And
need
the
to
question
do.
is,
I don't know,
like
it's
I
the first I've heard
said, if we send this one that was purchased through
Just popped up.
commissary, or if we use commissary to purchase another one, it's just gonna sit there unless the inmates are out there with it.
Well, it just brought to my attention, I don't really have a dog in that fight other than, in
do know.
October, it
was.
was mentioned that it was going out there.
Yeah.
Scott, what-
Well, in past meetings we've had, I know they are in need of a tractor. But I agree. If they can't use it,
then it's no good.
Yeah.
Why don't we just surplus
All right,
this stuff,
wait,
see what our
wait.
proceeds are, and then maybe we can help the park out with something?
Are you, I'm gonna ask a question while we're right here. Are you suggesting, I'm just asking, that we buy a tractor? Because the inmates can run a tractor. I can actually buy tractors. There's a lot of jails got all kinds of them.
no, I think, now just off memory, I think that she wanted one that the park employees can use. I don't,
I get it, I'm just,
I just know that they have.
It sounds like this is about as clear as mud.
Yeah, why don't we just have the surplus auction? We'll see what the proceeds come, see what the park really needs.
Yeah.
And maybe we can use some of the proceeds from this surplus to help the park get something they really need that'll be useful and functional.
I agree.
Yeah, because there's no reason to transfer them a piece of equipment if it's just gonna be parked and can't be
Well,
touched.
We've not had a meeting the last couple of months.
I just got a call from the director yesterday, and they got a use for this Kubota. Not inmate, they got a use for the Kubota.
I bet they do.
So I didn't really know.
Just have
Yeah,
them to
but
buy
they can-
it.
if we transfer the vehicle
that.
purchase commissary fund,
Oh,
they really
yeah,
can't use it.
yeah. So the question was asked to me, if we bid on this, if the parks bid on this Kubota, which they could.
They could.
online, we're gonna have to pay sales commission. I said, that's probably right.
Yeah.
And, the other part of it is, what's fair market value on this thing? It's,
I don't know.
I asked Marty, they're $25,000 new, what this vehicle is.
I know
don't-
they've been getting prices.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing, so if they want to bid on it, I mean, this would be a discussion for after the fact, but I'm just tossing this idea out there. If the park wants to bid on it and they're the winning bidder, when we get the proceeds from it, why don't we just put the proceeds back at the park?
Fair enough.
And then they bought it, and,
I get a check?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is with if we do sell it, you and I mean, we discussed this. We gave the one to the fire
Yeah,
department.
we gotta equalize it
Gauge-
out. Yeah,
Gauge what the fair market
Yeah.
value is for the one that's going to the park. That way, we don't.
Yeah.
If he gets a check and we give the proceeds to the park, we've lost.
But anyway, whatever y'all decide to do is fine with me. I know it all come out in the wash, but it's just who needs what.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, the thing's practically new. So,
Okay.
I mean, it has it don't have hardly many hours. Only thing it's done is clean the snow and spread salt for, 3 years? So that's about the time it has on it. So, and some parades. I think it's helped out with the parade, maybe some of the events out at the park, so.
Very good. All right. I don't think we ever got to a motion in a second, did we, Sidney? All right.
So,
All right, so I need a motion to add these items to the surplus. I got a motion from Myron. Second from Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Now we can ask the counselor about the,
Oh, yeah, now the sheriff brought up a question while you had to step out, Counselor.
Sorry about that.
He has several items such as cages and old blue lights that are vehicle specific, like you can't transfer them from one to the other, they have to go back into a vehicle like they came out of.
Right.
And they have no need for them.
Right.
He would like to surplus them or explore the options to surplus them, or possibly even with the cage, just scrap them. And the question is, we know the different avenues we can go through to surplus things through bids and advertising and sealed bids and all of that sort of thing. But what about just taking unused items that have really no real value other than scrap off to the scrap yard?
How much realistically, Sheriff, are we talking about money-wise from this?
Not much, probably run into, and that's why you guys know, I can throw something, I can say it's worthless and throw it in the dumpster.
But-
That, I'm going somewhere if it's so simple. But the auditor says, if you take something to the scrapyard and they give you $1 for it, it has to be surplus because it had some value. Some things it will cost more to take and get scrapped than it would. For instance, a cage. Maybe we could find somebody to buy this cage for $75 that lives on the other side of the United States. So do we pay $200 to ship it to them? And they're probably not going to want it. They're so old, those vehicles are obsolete. So I'd like to explore avenues to bring, I just need y'all's approval
To sell them.
to sell it, and if I can sell it, y'all get the money and we'll find the best avenue to sell it. I don't know what the cage would run. we think they are only worth the metal, and I don't know what the metal's gonna be worth it.
But I'm talking, we're talking less than $10,000, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless he has 10,000 cages.
There probably is 20 cages, I'm not even sure how many we got, but they've been sitting there for years, it's
The
not only.
metal's worth that much, but no, I think you go on and if you want, I would suggest you explore your avenues.
So he's asking for the court to vote approval for him to explore the avenues to sell both cages and blue lights.
Okay.
That's all we need to do?
Yep.
All right, so I need a motion and a second to authorize the sheriff to proceed with the sale of cages and blue lights.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Jeffrey, second by Marty. Any other question or discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Sheriff. If you get $10,000 out of those cages, we want to report to the court, please. All right.
That was just a ballpark. I was just trying to see, I didn't think it'd be worth that much.
All right. Next are a few employee resolutions. First is resolution number 2024-11-05 FSFR. If y'all recall, we do have a full-time firefighter that is on work comp currently, and we had several temporary firefighters just in a pool so that the chief could plug those in if need be. And so this resolution extends those guys temporary and adds one more name to that mix. And it's not that all of these people are going to work. This is just a group of people that would be authorized for him to call on to fill some of the spots, because like I said, we're down a man, and honestly, we don't really know how long a time frame that's going to be. But this would be through the end of next year.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next are three more employee resolutions. They all deal with the administrative part of the judge's office with some changes that, one, we voted on earlier. And you've got the information there on your portal of where things were, what things are being added, where things will be now. And so we need a motion and a second to approve employee resolution number 2024-11-05 EMP-admin 1.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is employee resolution number 2024-11-05 EMP admin 2. Need a motion and a second on that one.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question or discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And finally, this resolution will be to fill the vacancy effective November 18th. So it'll be 2 weeks from yesterday. But this is employee resolution number 2024-11-05 EMP admin 3. And before we motion and second and vote, I will say to you all, we had about 20 inquiries and got either 10 or 11 applications. And I sat down with the ladies in the office and we reviewed all those applications and went through what we thought would be the best fit for those ladies to work together.
So moved.
All right, motion by Myron. Marty, did you second? Jeffrey, second. So motion by Myron, second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
So we did find out another thing too. Jim, if we're needing workers, all I have to do is put a job opening on my county judge Facebook page, because we had all kinds of people. People say you can't find anybody to work. We had like 11 applications, 10 or 11. You want me to tell them? I'll put it on.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Was Pam deputy judge?
She is. I've got to make an appointment to that at some point.
But I didn't know if you had to do that through a fiscal court motion.
I think I do that through executive
Okay,
order.
okay. I didn't know, I had thought about that, and I didn't
Yeah.
know if you need a fiscal court motion on it.
Yeah, I got a mull on that one a minute.
Okay. All right. I'd say you got 3 good ones in a row.
All right, next, budget transfers. If you had an opportunity to review that, transfer, we need a motion and a second to approve that. Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is a cash transfer of $4,739.78 from the federal grant fund to the general fund. This is HIDA money. We need a motion and a second to approve that transfer.
So moved.
Motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And finally, the bills and claims. We need a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Got a motion by Marty and a second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving to reports, obviously, this is election day, and the county clerk's not here with us to give any kind of report, but he did say that through the 3 early days of voting, the early in-person voting, 3,662 people took advantage of the early days of voting. Expecting a pretty good turnout today. If you have not already voted, you still have till 6 p.m. this evening. And you can do that at the Methodist Church downtown on the square, at the Ag Building out at the park, at Salmon's Church out on North 31W, or the Zion Lutheran Church on South 31W, or at Simpson Elementary over on Witt Road. And obviously, we are getting started on the county clerk's building. They're hopeful to, their targeted completion date is July of 25. So we'll see how things are going. We authorized the purchase of new camera equipment around the square, and I guess it's already kind of paying off, as we had a little bit of vandalism damage to the Renaissance's fall display over here. I guess the 3 young men that were tossing pumpkins and smashing them on the ground didn't realize that we had put new cameras in that catches every angle and aspect of the courthouse yard now. And they were pretty crystal clear videos. In fact, a few people watched them and immediately recognized who the young men were. So
Well, that's good.
yeah. So just be aware that
I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding.
yeah, the pumpkins kind of jumped off the wall on their own.
Yeah. They were just trying to catch them and didn't do a good job of it.
That's right. But all kidding aside, just for the public's knowledge and for safety, I mean, it is for what happens around the courthouse, but for public safety also. And the sheriff can tell you, we get calls from time to time, if something happens on the square, did y'all have a camera that caught any of this? So really now we can catch, and pretty clearly, when I say clearly, the image is really kind of crazy. It's kind of like the technology of those lights, Myron. I don't understand how it's so clear, but at any rate, those folks done a good job. They were in and out of here in like 3 days, up and going. One other thing, I did get a late request, and I've reached out to the sheriff about this too. Would the court have a willingness to authorize up to $1,000 to purchase a microchip reader box station? And this would be really for the animal shelter, but the request was, if we do it, to have it placed at the sheriff's office, because what it is a box kind of like a newspaper stand, but it has an actual chip reader like chained into the box. So you open the door and the reader's on a chain. So like if you find a dog, rather than just calling the shelter and having animal control go out and try to get it, and then they take it to the shelter, which is typically overcrowded and full anyway. If you found a dog, you would have the ability to take it somewhere do a chip reader, and it would identify like where the dog belongs if it has a chip.
How much is it?
$1,000. And the sheriff has agreed that they would find a place over by the sheriff's office to locate it if we decide to do so.
I know there's some folks who are uncommonly attached to their pets, and if it saves them the heartburn and heartache of trying to find them and save their pets a trip to the animal shelter, I imagine they would be very appreciative. I
That
know,
almost sounds like a motion.
well, I can't make a motion, but I know from my line of work, I see a lot of folks who think more of their pets than they do most people, so.
Well, I'll make the motion.
Yeah, and I told Ruth, we got a motion on the table, but I told Ruth, I have no issue with it. I mean, I understand it's $1,000, but it may save the shelter $1,000 worth of problems in a given year, and if it does it year after year, then it's kind of paid for itself. So we got a motion by Marty and a second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. The sheriff was standing up like he might have a report, but then the clerk called him, so I'm not sure. We'll move on to jailer. Do you have a report?
Everybody go vote.
Okay.
None of us.
None of us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are we, chopped liver?
Counselor, I forgot, Counselor. Counselor, you have anything to share with us,
Well,
Counselor?
yeah, I think you're supposed to go through them first.
Oh,
How soon we forget, you know?
I mean, it's just a report.
I don't have anything.
Scott, you have anything?
No.
Myron?
I'd like to thank the fire department for watering the track for the FFA benefit tractor pull. And echo again, please get out and vote.
So just so y'all know, we're all human, and we do like to have fun, or at least I like to have fun. So I've been accused of wanting to have too much fun sometimes, but it's all good. Jeffrey, you have anything?
The library is, if you noticed on Facebook, the library's having trouble with their elevator
Oh, yeah.
down there. And they do have it inspected quarterly, but it's a problem that's arose that was unexpected. So it's going to be a little bit before it gets fixed back. So I don't know if it's going to get fixed back by the time this play starts or not, but it's going to be a
It won't.
pretty major fix.
All right, we're going to find out what brand it is and who installed it, because we don't want them doing it at the clerk's.
Well, it's old. It's
Elevator.
I can shed some light on that, Judge, if that's okay.
That's good.
When they did the renovation, they did a lot of work on the actual compartment itself and the hardware and the software. The jack was, and at that point, was fine, and so basically, it looked fine, so they thought, well, we're already spending a lot of money, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so the parts that they did not do have been there nearly 50 years.
Okay, so it's not a brand-new elevator?
No.
Okay.
They didn't replace the whole elevator, they only replaced the parts that they thought needed it, and this is basically something they
I got you.
didn't.
I just thought if they put a new one in during the renovation, we definitely don't need one like that at the court.
No.
Oh, it's been in there a while.
No, it's, if it goes nearly 50 years, I think that's probably about as good as you expect.
I think the hydraulic oil leaked out somehow and wore out.
Yeah, the hydraulic, yeah, it
So it's going to
leaked
be a
out.
pretty big fix.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's, honestly, I have obviously some inside information, but I don't think, realistically, it's not going to be fixed until after the first of the year. They've got someone there who did some inspections, because they're going to have to do an RFP, and it's going to be over 30,000, obviously, so they're going to have to bid it out, and it's not stuff that you can go to the local Ace Hardware to buy, and you're going to have to.
And the availability of it may be pretty scarce.
Well, also, and we're heading into the holidays, and not a lot gets done between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's probably going to be sometime after the first year before it's up and going again. The staff will help people who need stuff from upper floors if they can't make it up the steps.
Very good.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, your wife was probably about a 12 on being mad about it.
She was,
Yeah, she was not happy.
she was not happy, let's just
Not
put it
at
that
all.
way. Fortunately, it was not directed at me, so it wasn't so
And
bad.
luckily, nobody was in the elevator to really get hurt, with it, if it could have failed.
Oh,
or
Sam,
the-
it'll be your fault somehow or another.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm just saying, yeah, was going around with her hair on fire for a couple of days trying to, and having to explain to the Arts Council. They called them first thing saying, we're not going to have it available for your play, I'm sorry. And it's just, they usually have stuff during the holiday season there, different organizations, and it's just, unfortunately, things happen.
And then another thing, I want to thank the chief for all the calls he made to the farmers that had fields on fire, combines on fire during all this dry weather. Everything done an excellent job.
Marty?
I was just gonna say, I'm glad we live in the community we live in, because I've seen some of these bigger cities already starting to board up windows and all that stuff. We all have a difference of opinion on this election, but I'm glad we can be civil about it. But
Yeah.
another thing, I've talked to the sheriff, and what's the status on them getting new radios? We've spent all this money on this communication system.
Bob may have more
and
insight than
I'd like
I
to
do.
know, I'd like to know why we don't have new radios yet. I mean, that's been, what, over a year?
Yeah,
And we haven't
over a
got-
year.
We're talking, the sheriff's got duct tape on the antenna on the radio. I mean, it's just, if you spend that much money on communications, there's really no excuse not to have radios in this amount of time.
They'll be outdated before we get them, won't they?
Bob, do you have some insight on that?
I got a little.
Okay.
City police got radios Friday,
Who did?
city police.
Okay.
And I don't know, I was gonna ask the sheriff before he left, but I haven't heard. Sheriff's office will get their portables, if they didn't get them today, they'll get them this week.
Okay.
For over a year, when we get a new vehicle, we've been putting the new radios in the new vehicles. Most of the radios we're talking about are the tri-bands, the ones that'll do the 700 digital, the UHF, and the VHF bands. We're going to be operating the new radios on the current UHF band for a little bit longer. And what's happened is the state police weren't ready for us, is really what it amounted to. They were in the process of rolling out in Region 1, which is far west Kentucky, and they're struggling to get, as far as the networking part of it goes. I was on a meeting this past Wednesday, excuse me, and trust me, we're over a year out from when we were supposed to roll out.
Yeah, well,
And
that was 2 years ago, because Brownie Bennett was still city commissioner when we did that, so that's.
We were
that's been 2
supposed to
years.
be rolled out by last October, not last month, last October, a year ago. And I've been pushing them as hard as I dare, and the reason I say that is, this is new territory. We are the first community to get on the network system with state police. So it behooves them as well as us. You only get one opportunity to roll it out and do it right. So I didn't push them real hard, but as we came closer to the 1 year anniversary, I've been pushing them harder and harder. Where we stand right now, they had to purchase a new piece of equipment that they didn't expect, which is pretty expensive. At the state level, they're arguing about who's going to maintain and all that stuff, so you know how state government works. That, once they get that in place and they get the fiber connection made between Post and our tower site in Logan County, they'll get the core turned on, and then they'll be able to give me a radio. They'll be able to program my radio to go out and do our testing.
What kind of time frame are you looking at there?
Well, I'm hopeful. I don't have, they still haven't lit up District 1 yet.
Is there anything we need to do as fiscal court to send a letter, or?
I mean, you
Anything?
Hold the
You
money
can
back
contact-
from 911?
I guess you could contact, I can give you some contact information at the level that I'm working with Motorola and state police.
I just like to say, it's been.
We're at a point
it's been
now where
way
the
too
state
long.
police are pretty frustrated over it.
It's
so.
been way too long for us not to have.
I'm sure we'll get that
That's our-
information as soon as Mason gets the information on their 911 cell phone. They'll all come together, I'm
You
sure.
think they got all that in a package together?
I think we pretty much knew this going in. KSP was gonna be the stick in the mud
So
all the
can we
way
withhold
around.
money?
The new radios that the city
Well,
got,
we don't pay to.
is that on this system?
The 700
We
system's
haven't
not
completely
up.
paid.
The 911?
The digital system is not
Withhold the
up. That's,
911 money and
but they
No,
are.
I mean,
We can't withhold the 911 money.
But we paid, between the city and the county, didn't we pay like $3 million?
$3 million.
oh, yeah.
But we,
And the reason that we held off on distributing the portables as long as we have is because as soon as we hand them out, that's the day that the warranty kicks in. So they held off. Other agencies aren't happy with me pretty much for holding off as long as I did. But we're at a point where we're completely out of radios. So
Yeah.
we're going to be operating on the UHF for a little bit longer. But as of last week, they were able to start kicking into high gear in this region to get the core operational. As soon as they get the core operational and they can turn it on and connect us to the core, then I can do testing in our county to see
why don't
where.
we do this, Bob? You reach out to who you've been connected with at KSP and just let them know that if there's any way possible, that the court would like for them to come down and kind of share their side of what's going on
I can do that.
at our November 19th meeting.
Okay.
I would very much like that.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Marty, did you have anything else?
The only other thing, now that I see Beverly's here, we were having discussions on Gold City Road where there've been some wrecks there on this end of Gold City Road. And they're talking about maybe cutting a hill down, but it's gonna be probably 2 or 3 years where they're talking, you know how these state projects go. And I simply asked made a suggestion that maybe they could put a speed limiter, put a few speed limit signs, not a bunch, but, because from the end of Gold City Road to the Gold City store, to the end of the road in Allen County, or probably all the way to Scottsville, all the way up 620, there's not a speed limit sign anywhere. So I asked, maybe could you put a speed limit sign up? And their reply was, we don't want to put speed limit signs up at 55 mile an hour because we don't want people to think it's safe to drive that road at 55 mile an hour. Then their second reply was, everybody should know that if the road is not posted, the speed limit is 55.
Yeah.
So first they say they don't know if it's safe to drive 55, then they tell you it is 55. And then they say, well, we'll have to put up stop signs, or speed limit signs. So I guess people just need to be educated, because there's a lot of people who don't know. I have people that ask me, I've had 3 or 4 ask me to live out there, what is it, why don't we have speed limit signs up? And I said, well, it's 55 if it's not posted. They didn't know that. So that's, any of these roads that, they talk about, if there's not a speed limit sign on it, it doesn't mean there's no speed limit, it's 55. But they won't put speed limit signs up.
Bob, you have anything to the road department?
That means yes.
Yes.
Need to address, or would like to get one thing addressed. Remember the last court meeting, I asked about the company that's wanting to put the fiber line down 65, and they were wanting the permits to bore or go under the county roads. We talked about updating that, and Sam and I spoke about that this week, about the timing. That company actually wants to be able to put their bid out in December, because they're just putting the packages together for the bid. So I spoke to Warren County, how they handle it. They have a permit. They ask for the plans, the descriptions of the plans, the process they're going to go through, and some type of a guarantee, a letter guaranteeing that they will repair any damages. They don't ask for a bond. In ours, it asks for $1,000 bond, which since I've been here, we've never gotten from anybody. So I don't know how you want to handle it, but what I would like to do is, at least in this case, be able to let them know that if they fill out the permit that we request, whoever the contractor that gets the contract would have to come to the fiscal court or send some notice, what they're going to do, the scope of the plan, traffic control, if it be stopped, what they would specifically do, and that they would guarantee repairing any damages to the original condition.
Why don't you get whatever paperwork Warren County has, and we'll take a look at it, and maybe we can,
He was supposed to have sent me that, and they never have. I think, he told me it was a pretty broad permit that they send through their building inspectors, but I'll ask him again.
Do they require a bond?
Warren County, he said Warren County
They
does not.
We have an actual permit that they can sign, and it's tied to the ordinance. So,
but
the
the
ordinance
issue,
basically asks those same questions.
yeah, I mean, basically, the ordinance says, I got sent a copy of it, basically, it was done like in the late 80s, and it basically says $1,000 bond, and I'm not in the fiscal court office, but I've never heard on my end anyone ever posted one of those, but,
Not happened since I've been here.
and I don't even know $1,000, if they mess up something, won't even touch what it would take to fix it, so, that's,
But the agreement Warren County has, they just agree to cover any cost.
Yeah, they agree to repair any damages.
and that's why I'm saying it might be, if we take a look at it, imitation is a serious form of flattery, so
Yeah.
it sounds like a good idea.
Maybe just reach back out to them and see if they could get us a copy of what they.
So maybe the next meeting we can come up with something.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
No,
help the company get along, because they want to have it done in December so they can put their bids out, that's all they want to do.
sure.
All right.
So we can do that at the next meeting.
Chief, anything, fire department? John, anything? We'll take that as a yes.
So, as part of my job, code enforcement in the county, we've got a couple properties that are in very bad shape. I have sent notices, I've sent demolition orders on 2 properties. If the property owners don't take care of that, by ordinance and by code, that International Property Maintenance Code, I can have those properties destroyed at the expense of the county, or hiring another person to do it, and then go through liens and all that for to get to money. It's a long process, but just want y'all to be thinking about, those days are coming up pretty quick. So I'm gonna go in front of the code enforcement board. I think their meeting's the 19th. So I'm gonna take everything to them, but we need to figure out if we want, if Bobby can do it, if he wants to do it, or if we need to hire somebody to do it, county pay for that, and then get the money back.
Bobby
in
can do
liens.
anything.
I agree, I agree, but I don't wanna say he will do it, but
Bobby, do you have a track hoe?
That means yes.
A big track hoe
That means yes.
with a thumb on it? It's got a thumb?
well, and these properties are almost down on the ground anyway,
Yes,
so.
the
they're bad.
one I see frequently is almost on the ground now, a lot more than.
Surprisingly, very few complaints on that property. I can't believe it, but nobody calls and fusses.
Out there by the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
And mostly what he's talking about, guys, are some burned out structures.
That's what both of these
And
are.
burned out. And so the question is too, I think, and John, me and John were talking about this, and that's why I said, well, you just need to come and we need to talk about this in a court meeting, is do we want to go down this road? Because in my time here so far, we've not been down this road where we would actually either authorize the road department or hire an outside entity to take a structure down on someone else's property. But when you do, you have to immediately file a lien on that property, and then you have a time frame that you can actually foreclose on it.
Yeah.
And take that property. Is that not correct, Sam?
Basically, you foreclose on your lien. Crabtree's doing that, has been for the last couple of 3 years, because because there's more housing in the city limits, they've been taking down some condemned, dilapidated, abandoned housing, and they put a lien on it to, not only for the cost of the demolition, but also for mowing expense. And then he's been filing foreclosures on these liens, and eventually what happens is there will be a master commissioner sale. Sometimes the city buys it and, maybe donates it to Habitat or something else, but sometimes other people buy it. But yes, of course, the master commissioner sale clears the debts off of it.
Is this done on a case-by-case basis?
My thinking would be, this would be whatever it's in line with property maintenance codes and what we see that's happening. And I know I've got a thought on that, but I was gonna get Scott's question.
Well, I just wondered if there's other liens on it, where does that put us on the
I
list?
think it puts us first.
Basically what happens is, but yeah, there's, and who knows, I mean, if there were a mortgage holder, you probably, most mortgage holders, now, not all, would, oh, you're gonna tear it down, we got a lien, we gotta protect our interest. But if the house is already a wreck anyway, my guess is they've probably written off their, but I mean, yes, what happens is, yeah, we would get back our, we get it
We
back.
come in first. But
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I mean, these aren't properties that they're not even able to be repaired. I mean, they're bad. They should have been tore down a long time ago, but they're in terrible shape. So, and there is a way in the code. If the code official deems it an emergency, it can be done immediately, and I don't have seen any notice or nothing. I can get Bobby or hire somebody to tear it down if it's that big of a danger. These have went too long, you can't really say they're that big of a danger, but they are a danger. So I have sent the notices, they've been posted on site, they've come back undeliverable, the notices have, so I have sent everything, but it's coming up on the timeline that we're going to have to do something.
I think the question is, do we want to pursue this type of action on these and others possibly going forward? And so my opinion and my stance on this, I mean, so you guys know and the public watching knows, I'll be the first one to say, I'm not a real big fan of trying to control other people's property or tell other people what they can or can't do on their property. But at the same time, I don't think we can allow burned out structures just to sit for years and years and years. I think we ultimately have to take some action.
Well, if you've got abandoned property, basically, or sometimes you've got some of these properties, I've come into this and some of the stuff over the years, where grandpa died and he had 2 or 3 kids or didn't have any kids, and there's some question as to who exactly the owner is. Or you may have 20 people with a fractional interest in the property, and they don't see the point of spending a lot of time and effort for, a 1/16 interest in something. And so that's where people who actually have an ownership interest in it, have some skin in the game, would usually come in and do something, if nothing else, sell it. But that's the problem you got on some of these properties, why they haven't done anything, because one, we don't know, there's not any real idea who owns it, or 2, there's like too many owners.
Sam, my question is, Sam, do we need to let John know by some type of motion here, or do we just a nod of the head that, yes, pursue with what you're doing and we're gonna follow through?
If the regs are there and they provide the pathway, then follow the regs.
Right.
And
everyone's good with that.
Well,
that
in this
means no.
situation I am, but I'd like to change those regs where each one of them has to be approved by fiscal court. Because right now, we're fine with it, but you get somebody new later on down the road. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about some old barns that really are still being used at times, but and you get somebody that moves in here from another state, or, with the population, with the growth we got now, and you may get a small group of people who go, that barn looks horrible, it needs to be tore down. It wouldn't burn, but it's, some sides off of it or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that, but
I would like
there is, by going by International Property Maintenance Code, I mean, it's not as easy as just saying, that's in bad shape, we're gonna tear it down. I mean, you have to, guidelines you have to go by, so it's not as easy to tear one down. These are just because they're so bad, and that's also where you have to go through code board and all that, which is appointed by everybody. But I don't have an issue bringing it to y'all before I do anything. I'm fine with it.
Well, like I said, I don't,
Right.
I hope you understand.
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah.
you would, if you seen an old barn out there or whatever,
Right.
maybe somebody did want to tear it down or whatever, but, in a burned down house, I know the one you're talking about, I have no problem at all with that, and we've had a couple of mobile homes that have burnt, and they've been removed, and that was fine, but I just don't want to, I never want to make it something where it's real easy for somebody to just start going in and.
Well, it's not easy now, but I see what you're saying.
But I hear you saying that you're going to deal with them case by case, and you won't do anything until you notify us what's going on.
I'm good with that,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Because it's going to cost, if we start doing all that, it's going to cost us some money, at least on the front end.
Well, yeah, you need to, because in this situation, if we're, as the county, going to provide the stuff to tear it down, you would need to make sure we're going to do it, so.
Yeah.
And the city would be, if it's inside the city limits, then the city would be the one taking care of the property,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, their code enforcement takes
We
care of
don't need to
everything
buy
in
no
the
new
city.
equipment for Bobby to be tearing down.
And on your point too, I mean, I don't do code enforcement in the county. I don't go out looking for stuff. So if nobody's calling and complaining about it, I don't mess with it
Okay.
pretty much. But if they do complain about it, I'm still very lax on it anyway, but these you can't be.
Unfortunately, if someone brings something to your attention, it's kind of, you have a
Right.
tougher
Yeah.
time not
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
anything, ignoring it.
You need to think about the people that join it with their property, what it's doing to that, as far as value, so.
That's, like, there are times where I find out stuff, and it's like, well, once I find out about it, I can't just ignore it.
Yeah, and then also on the new PVA office, new PVA office, they poured footers, part of them yesterday, they're pouring some today, supposed to be about 10 o'clock, so. They're moving along, so they're getting footers in the ground.
Very good.
Good deal.
Thank you, John.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you, John.
Paul, anything with maintenance? I take that as a yes.
Dang, Mason, you need to quit calling people's
Well, he's
names.
the last one I could call.
Doesn't maintenance do the clocks?
Yeah, he needs to close the clock and get them run back.
Yeah, we gotta adjust the clock. I just wanna let y'all know about a little project. The rod sticking out the top of the clock tower has the air wind direction thing on it is when, it's sagging right now. There's some rotten wood underneath it. And we imagine it's pretty heavy. It'd be pretty bad if it did fall through. Actually, the guys, when they were putting the Christmas lights in, discovered it and brought it to my attention, and
Don't
we've
you
been
don't say
checking
we
it
hit
out.
it. No, we didn't.
Oh, my.
But
They broke it.
working with Randy Oakley, and he's coming up with a contraption to carry up in pieces, but that he can grab it and hold it and replace that rotten wood with some metal that will last years and years, and jack it back up just a little bit. We're in the right spot.
Yeah, because what we definitely don't want to do, we do not want that weather vane falling through
No,
to
no.
the ground floor.
No.
I don't know that it would stop until it made it all the way through.
To the
It's
basement.
gotta be,
Might not
it's
stop till
gotta
we
be
hit the
heavy.
basement. We do not need that happen.
It'll come through right by the center of this room.
Yeah.
Why about that, Jim?
All I know is I've known Randy for a long time. If he says he can fix something that it would hold,
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind that what he gets done with it,
Yeah.
it'll be everything he said it's gonna be.
And Myra, we're kind of kidding around and picking at you, but honestly, we appreciate your guys bringing that to Paul's attention too. Because I mean, we had.
Well, we should have
had no idea
probably-
that it was in that kind of shape.
I wish we could have worked it out while the lift was here.
Right.
Wish we could have, because that's not good on their yard now.
But
Well, I think they're going
Someone-
to do all the repair from the inside, aren't they?
right, yes, they
Oh.
are. They are. They're gonna do,
All
yes.
right, get up on
It's
top.
going to have to be from the inside. They got to get it up and make a structure to brace it and hold it and make sure it stays up.
Correct.
Get it up, keep it up.
That's right.
Do we need, have you got money on a budget, in a line item for this? Courthouse repairs?
Property maintenance.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, I've run out of people to ask.
Welcome to
so-
maintenance.
The sheriff hadn't made it
Good.
back yet.
Sheriff hadn't made it back, so, but I do need a motion and a second to enter executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1G, discussions between a public agency and a representative of a business entity and discussions concerning a specific proposal, if open discussions would jeopardize deciding, retention, expansion, or upgrading of the business.
Someone.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Jeffrey, all in favor, aye. All right, we'll meet across the